Hey everybody, and welcome to Backseat Sports. I'm Josh and that is Caleb, and guys, we are finally back for the 2018 college football season, and man, I can't be more excited. We're actually starting a podcast for this season for college football. We're going to mostly talk about the Big Ten, but we'll talk about a lot of college football stuff, and then we'll have a little segment just talking about whatever we want in there probably. So it should be a really fun time. Be on the lookout for that. Turn on the notifications, and we'd love for the support on that first podcast, and we cannot wait to see you guys there.
And Akron, the state is in a point of almost eruption. Everybody's talking about it. Your mom, your grandmother, your sister, and even your dog. It's all built up to this first game against the Akron Zips, live on national television. The great first place to start for Scott Frost's first game. This video, we're going to go through our predictions for the season, what's going to happen, how many wins are we going to have, how many losses are we going to tack up. As always, we're going to be wrong, and it's going to be exciting. But
maybe you're going to be wrong, but I won't be.
We'll see.
So, first of all, we just want to talk about Trey Bryant's retirement real quick, because it's just really sad that a talented guy like him has to step away from football because of injury and because of worrying about injury like that. And it really sucks to see. He's a talented guy. We were excited to see what he could do this season. But, man, it really does suck to lose him for the year or for his career now. And, we wish him the best.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely wish him the best. Scott Frost said it really well. It's sad to see, but yeah, all the best.
And also we wanted to quickly mention the QB battle, which this weekend Scott Frost is announcing who the starter is going to be. We're recording before that announcement, so we're not going to talk too much about the quarterbacks. I personally think Adrian Martinez is starting. I'm confident in both of them, and personally I don't think it's going to matter too much because I think both of them are pretty even. But yeah, so basically we're just going to go straight into predictions. Basically we're going to throw out our prediction right at the start and then explain why we chose this prediction. So Caleb can take it away with his first prediction.
Oh man, I've been laughed out of the building with this prediction, and you guys know me. I love the hot takes. I love the crazy picks. Just as a precursor. Now this is a prediction, not an expectation. I'm not gonna be a crazy guy that I expect this.
I don't know, dude. I think you're expecting it.
I call me a homer, do what you will, but 10-2. I said it. 10-2. Nebraska football this season. That is what the Huskers are going to go. I have heard 6-6. I've heard 7-5 a lot. I think that's kind of crazy and kind of ludicrous.
Well, Caleb, why is that?
Well, I'm glad you asked.
Oh, good.
I think our offense is going to score a lot of points this season, and a lot more points than the Big Ten is used to. And that is why we're going to win so many games. Well, let's start with this. So UCF was the 126th and out of 128 teams in offense in 2015 before Scott Frost became the coach. You can say,
oh, there's more talent in Florida, and yes, all that.
And they went from that to he cut in half how bad they were. Our offensive rank last year, we averaged 25 points per game, just a little bit over. Now I think the Huskers this season are going to score more like 35, 33, 4 points per game. And that's going to put us right in the top 25 to 40. And I think that is a very, very plausible situation with just how good of our offense is.
But is that enough to make us go 10-2 though? That's the real question.
I definitely, yes. I really do. Because we're going to play a lot of good defenses, and I don't think a lot of the Big Ten teams, obviously Ohio State is apt to score that many points, but most other Big Ten teams are not going to score that many points per game. But they're an outlier.
Okay, so who are your two losses?
My schedule is it's either Michigan State or Michigan. We're going to split that, and then we're going to lose to Ohio State because they're in a class.
Which means you have us beating.
That's right. I have us beating Wisconsin this year. And I'm really excited about that. I think we have lost 5 out of the last 6 meetings with Wisconsin.
Yep, we have.
In the regular season. And I think not only is it due time, I think it's going to happen. Yes, Wisconsin was amazing last year. Their football was great. They were a couple plays away from winning the Big Ten championship. They had a horrible start in that game, and their defense put them back in it because their red zone defense is so good, and it has been so good throughout these few years. Wisconsin lost 7 players on the defense. Now, they do reload every year because they have a great formula for Wisconsin. They've had multiple defensive coordinators, and they have a great Wisconsin formula that works for them.
Yeah, they do.
And so I don't think they're going to be good. But the thing is, they also have a great offensive line, which I'm not going to deny. But they always have it's not new for them to have a great offensive line. It's just something that Wisconsin does. But Nebraska should have beat Wisconsin, had beaten them, and then lost it because of bad management with Mike Riley every single year. Wisconsin is not an unbeatable team. But I really think we're going to go 10-2 this season. I think what I've seen from the press conferences and how I've seen the players talk has been crazy. I've seen players on the verge of tears on the stands. What they're talking about, they believe so much. Scott Frost has said multiple times that he as a player would run through a wall for Coach Osborne, and I think that same mentality he's preaching into the guys here, and they're getting better every day.
Okay, so then what do you think is the worst case scenario for Nebraska?
Definitely the worst case scenario for Nebraska I see is an 8-4 season. Worst case
That's
scenario,
positive.
It is. I see. Then we would lose Wisconsin. We'd lose Ohio State, one of the Michigan State games.
So
Jeff,
now it's
what's your
time.
prediction?
It's time for the realistic Nebraska fan, the one that has a brain, to talk a little bit over here. Okay.
Oh, the one who has a brain. I don't know.
Yes.
I'm pretty
Okay,
sure
so
I predicted Nebraska to have less wins last season than you did.
Nebraska doesn't have the talent right now at this point to win 10 games. It's just not. It's not possible. It's not going to happen. I do believe with a lot of what you're saying when it comes to like the attitude of the team, this talent offensively, and things like that, where like it's a huge improvement from last year. I do agree, but last year's team,
we were
4-8
we
and a
even
total
6-8
garbage
last
can.
year.
My prediction is that we go 8-4, which is fairly realistic, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if we go 7-5. I'd be fairly surprised if we go 9-3, and I mean I would be shocked if we went 10-2. I give us a 40% chance to go 8-4, a 40% chance to go 7-5, and a 20% chance to go 9-3. With a 0.1% chance to go 10-2. I'm sorry for those of you optimistic Nebraska fans, but it's not going to happen. As much as I love Scott Frost, as excited as I am for the program, it's not going to happen. Why, may you ask? Well, there's first of all, we have a tough slate in Michigan, Wisconsin, Ohio State, and Michigan State, with 3 of those games on the road. Plus, you got some trip-up games in Colorado, Northwestern, and Iowa, which are by no means just pushover games, especially Northwestern and Iowa. When it comes down to those Michigan, Wisconsin, Ohio State, and Michigan State games, which I think are going to be the 4 games that we lose. First of all, Michigan, they're returning 17 starters. 8 of them are on offense, 1's the QB, 9 are the defense. Their defense is going to be the best defense in the Big Ten, and very, very likely the country. It's very possible they have the best defense in the country. Absolutely, for sure, one of the best defenses in the country. And I mean, their defense was top 15 last year, returning 9 this year. They're going to be good. They're going to be very good. Not to mention, offensively, they're improving at quarterback position, which is the most important position for Michigan. I mean, for every team, but specifically for Michigan to improve in. Wilton Speight was so bad last year, and they have an awesome quarterback battle this year, probably the best quarterback situation in the country, with Shea Patterson coming in, who's going to be a fantastic quarterback in Michigan's system. I don't see how they're not going to win at least 8 games. They should win probably 9 and very likely could win 10 or 11. They're going to be a very good team. I just don't see us walking into the big house winning that game. Wisconsin's coming off a bye week playing Nebraska. They're returning 13 starters, 9 of them offensively. They're returning their whole offensive line, and their All-American running back in Jonathan Taylor, who could win the Heisman this year. Hornibrook is coming back. He's going to improve this year. He's going to take a few steps forward. I mean, he's not going to be bad. He wasn't bad last year. He wasn't great, but he wasn't bad last year. I don't see a world where we beat Wisconsin at Wisconsin. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. Defensively, Wisconsin's going to be still very good. A lot of people are pointing out that they lost a lot of starters defensively, but at the end of the day, they're maintaining TJ Edwards and Conley. They're 2 inside linebackers that are absolute studs. I mean, literally, Conley was their leading tackler. TJ Edwards was, a lot of people saw as their best defender overall. They're bringing back both of them. I don't know. I just see that their defense might take a slight step back, but their offense will be one of the best in the country. They'll definitely have the best running attack in the Big Ten for sure. And I just don't see us going into Wisconsin and winning that game. It's not feasible. Again, with Ohio State, we're not going into Ohio State and winning this game yet. As much credit as I want to give Scott Frost for making huge strides, and I mean 8-4 is huge strides for Nebraska coming off of 4-8. And that's massive improvement if we can beat Iowa and if we can beat Northwestern, if we can beat Colorado. I'll be very happy with that, with our first season back with a legitimate coaching staff and an awesome core. I expect 8-4 or 7-5 for sure, at the least 7-5. I'll be disappointed with 7-5. The improvement that we can see there is astronomical. I don't see us beating OSU. We do not have the talent to beat Ohio State in Ohio State like that, especially when Urban Meyer is still their coach.
But I think that the only real big talent gap for us is Ohio State. Michigan hasn't been able to recruit as well as they would have liked to because Michigan State is still good. This losing mentality that we've had of this 9-4, I think it's gone. It's just
we didn't have a losing mentality with Bo Pelini though.
We did have a losing mentality with Bo Pelini.
No,
Not a losing mentality, but a blow-up mentality. Every time a big game came, you and I both know how bad it was, that he couldn't withstand the pressure. We finally, for the first time, have seen someone that actually can take the pressure cooker of college football. A coach that actually can take pressure. Mike Riley crumbled under the pressure. Sorry to say. Wisconsin optimizing the amount of talent that they have with only being in the top 40 in recruiting classes every year. They're absolutely maximizing what they have.
Michigan State was a fantastic team last year. They won 10 games last year, and their defense was a top 25 defense. Their offense was solid last year as well, and they're returning 19 starters plus their QB. 10 offensively. They're going to be a good team this year.
I mean, I'm not going to say they're not good, but I mean,
I will say that we have the best chance to beat Michigan State out of any of those four teams, especially since it's at home. But I don't expect us to beat them, and Michigan State's a great team. I really don't think our losses to these four teams are because we're not good. It's because these teams, I truly believe, are extremely good in the Big Ten stack this year. That's really what I think.
I would honestly pick Wisconsin out of those four. I truly believe.
Come on.
Yes. They have a good run.
We're playing Michigan State at home.
Yes. And I think
we're gonna be 18-point underdogs against Wisconsin at least.
Yeah. We won't be by the time we're there. That's a fact.
What?
We're not going to. Well, by the time we roll in, we will not be 18.
That's 4 games into the season.
Yeah, it's 4 games into the season. That's all you're going to need.
As much as I want to be optimistic, I am being optimistic. 8-4 is fairly optimistic. I think our best case scenario is 9-3, where we snag a game against Michigan State. Worst case scenario is we're 6-6, where we blow it against a team like Iowa or Northwestern or Colorado, and we end up at 6-6. Something I don't expect that to happen. Like I said, I expect 8-4 or 7-5 at the worst, but 6-6 is a plausible scenario, and that's the odds that Vegas set for us, and usually Vegas is fairly accurate in their predictions. I don't love betting against Vegas like that, but 8-4 is what I'm going with, and I'm pretty confident that that is what Nebraska can reach with a solid season this year.
You definitely took the safe pick. I don't know.
The accurate pick.
I've never been this optimistic about Nebraska football in my whole tenure of loving the Huskers. Except maybe in, like I said, 2010, after we came off when we were ranked 14th in the country. I've never been this excited about us being able to do well. I do have a lot of questions on the defense, especially on who's going to step up on the defensive line. Nobody had done great, so who's going to step up?
Is that an X factor for you then? Defensive line?
Yeah, so who's...
No, I mean, I agree.
On the defensive line, who's going to step up? Is it going to be Ben Stille, Freedom Akamalladu, Mick Stoltenberger, Carlos Davis? I'm really interested to see how that one's going to pan out. They had talked a lot about being disruptive. I'm going to be really interested to see if any of those guys can be. And then also on the linebacker core, I wouldn't be surprised when the Big Ten was, on the media days when they were talking to people and people were showing him around. It was Luke Gifford. He was the best linebacker last year until he got hurt. Obviously, defense is a larger of a question than the offense, but I truly believe our offense is going to be good enough to win us a lot of games this year, and we're going to see Nebraska score a ton more points than Nebraska fans are accustomed to.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think another X factor would be our offensive line as well. Last year, it was surprisingly good for what everyone expected, especially with injuries and a lot of issues going on throughout the year, because 8 different offensive linemen started at least 3 games for Nebraska last year, which was crazy. And based off of offensive line stats, we finished in the top 23 in adjusted line yards last year, which wasn't a bad finish. So there is hope for offensive line to be fairly decent this year, returning a handful of guys, which, it gives me a little bit of hope for our offense, especially for our quarterback play, which of course will be another X factor, whether or not whoever our quarterback is, which you guys probably know by now again.
I think the most pivotal game, like I said, is that Michigan game. I think it really sets the tone for how this season is going to go, how our players going to respond in the big house.
I mean, it'll be our test on the road, so I mean, that's why it's so important.
Yeah, and yes, exactly. How is our team going to be on the road? Nebraska has been a terrible road team these past few years.
Like 4 years.
Yeah.
So you think Michigan's more important game than Wisconsin then? Because I mean, if we beat Wisconsin, it does gives us a decent shot to win the West and go to the Big Ten championship.
Yeah,
I mean, even though based off Wisconsin's season, I don't think beating Wisconsin guarantees us going to the Big Ten championship because of how fairly straightforward their schedule is.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I really think Michigan's is more important, even the response to after the Michigan game, how that's going to go. So I'm really interested to see how our team takes that punch at Michigan.
I mean, in this world where we beat Michigan, we'd more than likely be going into Wisconsin game 6-0. If I wasn't a Nebraska fan, I would 100% put a bet on the Wisconsin-Nebraska game with you. But I can't wish that against myself like that.
I mean, and Hornibrook is so inconsistent. He is hot and cold.
And I'll agree with that.
And he has been his whole career. And I think that our defense is good, but I really believe that our offense is going to be electric this season.
If we can get around that Northwestern game and win that one fairly easily, I'll feel really good about our season. Like as long as like I mean in the sense of positivity, where I'll be like pretty excited moving forward. We're competitive in the Michigan game. I really don't care what happens in the Wisconsin game. If we lose by 20, I don't mind that because I think Wisconsin's going to be a fantastic team. Same with Ohio State.
Alrighty, guys, so that's Josh and I's predictions. I'm over here with the crazy 10-2 pick, and Josh went with the safe 8-4 pick. But we both believe that it's going to be a good year, an exciting year to watch Nebraska football. You're not gonna want to turn off your TV like you did last year of just the sheer disappointment of the
Purdue.
4-8 season. Yeah, Purdue, Northwestern. Like you could just feel the train derailing at one point in every game
week.
last season.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's going to be the case. It's going to be a lot of exciting, quality football, and that's more so what we just both want to see. We want to see competitiveness, and just
physicality and passion.
Yeah, physicality, passion, and just a team that's getting better and working hard. And if we see those things, Nebraska is just going to have the brightest future ahead. If you guys like this video, make sure to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. And as always, this has been Backseat Sports. I'm Caleb, he's Josh, and we'll see you next video.
See ya!
Just honestly think, after watching the Rose Bowl and watching the Orange Bowl, that Michigan could beat Nebraska. Go ahead and vote Michigan, by all means. I don't think there's anybody out there that with a clear conscience can say that Nebraska, and especially Tom Osborne, that great